Hello everyone, I hope all of you are doing well. Welcome to my channel, and in this video we're going to talk about, is the AI degree really worth it, from a different perspective, this time coming from an AI software engineer. This is Neda Miksu, and without further ado, let's get started with the video. Alright, so for today's table of contents, first topic would be day-to-day responsibilities, of course, for an AI software engineer. Again, I'll be touching on these topics. Hopefully in the near future, we get to explore them even deeper. Okay? The second topic would be challenges and solutions. The third topic would be an example of what a project is like. And fourth topic would be collaboration and teamwork. Fifth topic would be continuous learning and growth. This is the concept of that. And the last topic would be career advice and tips. Okay, in case you're going to be focused on working on tasks that are only related to AI, these are the main two tasks. The first one is AI training. In case you're not aware, a lot of companies right now are adopting AI technology, and the way they're doing that is by integrating, right? So they already have a project, they already have a way, a solution to do things. However, integrating AI would mean that they are starting automation. So now they're using automation to make those tasks run smoother or even more efficient. So, as an AI software engineer, you're going to be working on the AI training part, where you're going to help them build this part, which involves a lot of phases. And then after that, you're going to help them integrate it to their own project. This is where the software engineering comes and where the computer science part comes in. You need to be aware of how the software works together. You need to know the programming languages. You need to learn about the integration, right? So you're not just gonna work on building the models, because in university, you're going to learn about this. You might be learning about how to build projects. However, these two together is not as complex in university as it is in the real world, okay? So that's why I want to highlight this part, and we're going to talk about it again later on. So let's move on to the next slide. Challenges and solutions. The first challenge would be peer programming. For people who are not very skilled when it comes to working with people, this one is even more tricky. It's not just that you need to figure out how the code needs to work, you need to know how it works with people as well. So why is this tricky? It's because every person has their own way of programming, has their own way of writing the code, have their own way of understanding the code. So putting those minds together to figure out something could be tricky at times, but at the same time, I would say it's a double-edged sword, where when putting these minds together, it also helps debugging. The debugging stage, it's easier with people around, okay? So again, the solution for peer programming, when it gets difficult, to ensure clear communication and have a lot of sessions where you debug. Debugging is more like, you take more time to do debugging than to do the actual code. You can find the code online, but will it work? Will it work for your solution? Will it not cause errors? Will there be any dependency errors? So this means like, the code, will it work on your platform? Because code in different platforms could cause some dependency errors, okay? These things, you'll figure it out as you're working together as a team. That is why it's important. However, it might be challenging if you're not used to it. So this is something to have in mind. The next challenge is new technologies. As I mentioned in my previous video, you might not be fully equipped when you graduate. You might find new technologies out there, new languages, new ways of doing things, right? So this is a challenge. When you want to work as an AI software engineer, you need to be aware of these new technologies. Some companies are understanding. They want people who are willing to learn, so that they can give them time to train, to do research, which is why it is the solution for this problem. You need to be willing to take time to do the research and training. You can do this as you're working with them, You don't have to do this beforehand if the company is understanding about that, right? So now let's move on to the next slide. Project example. Okay, so this is a rough sketch of what it would be like to work on a project related to AI, okay? So usually this is how it goes. There is a project. This project could be a website, it could be an application, okay? In my case, it is a website, all right? So we have an AI element that helps us to do these tasks on the website. And that way, it will give us more accurate and even faster results than when we do things manually. Okay? So this is me. I had the chance to work on debugging. So any bugs that were happening on the website, so any front end problems, I was handling them at first. But then I did say that I was not as interested in this as I could have been in something else. So they recommended, what about the AI training part? Where currently they were working on AI training. They didn't have anyone who was an AI major. However, they were all in that research training part that I mentioned. If the company is willing to do research and training to learn about these new technologies, then they'll give you the chance to also do that, to learn it and then implement it. So I said yes. In fact, I am an major, so I'm interested to do the AI training as well. So then I transitioned from debugging to AI training. So AI training is done to help improve this AI element that they have in their website. Okay? So this is just a general example of how it would be like. Now let's move on to the next slide. Collaboration and teamwork. I want to take a moment to emphasize how important this part is. You know how soft skills are sometimes a requirement, or they are there in job descriptions, like they want people who are good team collaborators. They want people who will work well with their teams. They need people who can communicate, who can collaborate so that they can work well together. So the first element of this communication chain is the experts, okay? Whether you're a junior or you're just entering the company, you'll have people who are seniors, people who are more expert than you, people who have learned about these things that you're just about to start working on. So you're going to have to be willing to learn from those people, right? You need to have an open mind to take advice from them, learn from them, and hopefully they are also willing to teach as well. As you grow with the company, you're gonna have juniors now. People are gonna come in, new people, and you might be given the chance to teach those people the things you have learned. Since you just learned them, it's easier for you to teach them as well. So you're going to work with teams where there will be people who know more than you, people who will not know more than you. Together, you're gonna work it out. Which leads us to the last part of this chain. You need to share the goal of the company. You need to believe in it as well. And that is how you're going to keep pushing yourself to solve the problems that you're stuck at. As I mentioned earlier, debugging is more than the code itself. So there will be days where you won't have any progress to even report back, right? You and the people you're working with are going to be stuck at several times, right? This is all part of it. And then when you share that goal, you want to reach it, being able to collaborate and communicate with all your team members together, you'll be able to achieve those, okay? Right, so let's move on to the next slide. Continuous learning and growth. Right, so here is my theory. This is where you start. This is when you just enter the company. You have all the knowledge and all the theory from university, okay? But you're not at this point. You're not at this point where you can experiment, implement, and use this knowledge, right? You're not aware of how to use it. It's very different from when it's on your brain and then when you're implementing it in the real world. The reason why it's hard, because the use cases that you face in real life is different from the use cases you have in university. You will be working on projects that might seem similar to what is out there, but the cases that you're going to face in real life is not going to be the same. So after going from this stage to the next stage, you're going to enter the experiment and learning stage. Now you're aware of these difficulties and you're better at adapting to what's going on around you. That way, you're going to take in the knowledge that you know, you're going to take in all the things you've learned, and now you're starting to experiment to see if these things actually work, okay? So the last stage is beyond. This is what I would say potential. This is where you could actually be after implementing all the information you know and all the information that you've learned, okay? So now you're able to implement those things, and you're also able to recommend. Now people in your team are able to ask you what works best, and you're able to answer those questions, because before you were the person asking those questions. You're asking, what should I do, what works best, but now you are able to answer those. Is because of you trying and implementing the knowledge that you knew earlier. Okay, so now moving on to the next slide. Career advice and tips. If I had the chance to go back and tell myself one thing, it would be to look into job descriptions, right? So to look into the job descriptions of the jobs that I might be or potentially will be applying to. So these would be AI software engineer in general, and software developer, all these positions, right? To look into the job descriptions, to look into the skills and requirements, the things that they are looking for, to help me prepare for them, okay? So after I graduate, I want to be ready to apply to these jobs, right? Because sometimes I would go and apply, there's an entry level job. So you would think, okay, as a graduate, as a fresh graduate, I could apply to these jobs, but then they would have requirements that even I don't have, even though I've already completed my degree, okay? So these would include some programming languages or some frameworks or some platforms that they are expecting you to know how to work on. Therefore, after looking into these, you'll be able to be prepared beforehand. I'm talking about this from the AI software engineer side. So this is after I graduated. So once you are at that stage where you're thinking about, oh, these are the jobs that I'm going to be applying to in the future while you're studying, this is the thing that you should do, okay? The second point would be projects and events. So these are the things you could do before graduating to have a better chance to be accepted at a job. So they want experience. They want people who are out there doing things. They want to see you. They want to see the things you've done. If you have a chance to participate in competitions, hackathons, you have the chance to volunteer to go to an event where you're networking with people who are already working, that's really great. So have that in mind. Give yourself the chance to be exposed to things and experiences that will help you later on. I personally didn't do as much as I could have. That's why I want people to consider this. Again, to answer the question, is it worth it? Okay, so I do have the knowledge, but I don't know how to implement it, right? So I got lucky enough to apply to a company that is understanding, that gave me the chance to take my time to adapt to work life and to adapt to the technologies and the things that we want to use, right? I had the chance to learn about AI training, and I led the AI training in the team after I've learned it, right? So this is why I'm emphasizing about the growth, I'm emphasizing about the expectations, because these are the things that are happening now. All of us are adapting to AI now, even us, the people who have studied it. Now, when we come to the real world, we see how fast paced it is. That's why it's really important to have that willingness to keep on growing and to stay up to date. I would definitely say I could have done more, as I mentioned before, to make this even more worth it. However, I would say personally it was the right course for me to study, because again, I'm a person who's interested in both technology and psychology, and AI was just the perfect mix for that. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you have any questions, make sure to leave them in the comments, or you can email me in this email as well. That is all for today, but that's not all I have to offer. So look forward to future videos and see you soon.